Ask yourself a damn question. Is winning the only thing to you?
Sports today are not just played on the field. They're played every day, online, all over the world, by sports fans just like you.
Don't you dare breathe. That won't get you anywhere. If you don't think you're a winner, you don't belong here.
Fantasy Sports puts you in control of your own team. The Nick Monsanto Show is proud to present the Star Fantasy League Show. Find out who to sit, who to start, how to play, and have your daily fantasy sports questions answered with your host, Jonathan Sprung, co-hosted by SFL CEO Zach Stanley and SFL COO Seth Young. The Star Fantasy League Show, on the air.
Make this game your finest hour.
Now.
Hello and welcome to the Star Fantasy League Show here on the Sports Byline USA Network. I'm Jonathan Sprung, your host, joined as always by the Deucey Moose himself, SFL CEO Zach Stanley.
Thank you for the lovely intro, Jonald. It's a beautiful Friday here at Star Fantasy League's headquarters. The sun has been shining today, and snow is actually melting.
This is probably the weirdest thing. This is the weirdest thing we've seen in a long time.
It's an anomaly.
I completely agree. Anomaly is the right word.
And we happen to have a special guest today in the form of Teddy Bear 2.
Teddy Bear 2 is here. I'd like to, it's a somber note. Seth Young apparently passed away off the coast of San Jose. Was snorkeling, whatever. What was he doing? I don't know.
I hope he rests in non-peace.
I hope he rests in non-peace as well, because he's actually sitting in the office next to us. He can hear us currently, which means he's sitting there crying, I think, because he's been kicked off the show permanently.
Yeah, he likes to think that he has a lot less time in his hands than he does. He always says that he's wheeling and dealing and all this nonsense. It's a bunch of crap.
So is it safe to say that I am no longer an anomaly?
You might actually be added to the intro of the show. It's not going to be. It's going to be Jonathan Sprung, Zach Stanley, and Teddy Bear 2.
Teddy Bear 2,
right.
And sometimes Seth.
That's actually that's a perfect way to put it. On today's Teddy Bear 2 show, Teddy Bear Extravaganza.
Teddy Bear 2 Friday.
Yeah, Teddy Bear 2 Friday. We're breaking down Nick's NBA lineup on StarFantasyLeagues.com for Friday. It's a nice big 11-game slate. It's a big day for basketball.
I've got a good feeling about this.
And we also
3 in a row under my belt, baby.
Yeah, we also have the epic return of Judge Judy.
Oh, yeah.
In John Old's mailbag today. She's back.
I was so excited to see that she wrote in.
You should be.
I am.
Judith is the greatest.
She's very intriguing.
And after John Old's mailbag, of course, we are breaking down NBA for Saturday. We are on 5 days a week down on the Star Fantasy
Every
Show.
day,
This
baby.
is ridiculous. Coming back from the break, we are breaking down Friday's NBA lineup on StarFantasyLeagues.com, and you're listening to the Star Fantasy League Show on the Sports Byline USA Network.
Nick Monsanto is proud to present the Star Fantasy League Show. Feel free to tweet the show at SFL Show. Let's do this. Time for your Star Fantasy League's NBA Fantasy Lineup Breakdown.
You heard the man in the cage. It's time for NBA lineup breakdown on StarFantasyLeagues.com for Friday. NBA Friday. I believe there's $2,000 guaranteed today in prize pools. It's my favorite day of the week. Zach's is Wednesday because I don't know why Wednesday.
And we are back.
Thank you for being delayed by 30-something seconds.
Welcome to the show, folks.
Zach is actually practicing. I'm going to be gone at some point next week. He's practicing to take over the show as host for 5 minutes. Maybe.
I'm going to be gone early next week, too.
Yeah, no. But I'm the host. I'm always here.
I know, you're always here.
Yeah, that's
you're
true.
You're a mainstay, but not for long.
Great. I'm going to get kicked off the show.
I'm going to take over hosting the Zach Stanley Show.
The Zackled Show, starring Zach.
That way I can have whatever send-offs and call it whatever I want.
Oh, yeah, sure. You can do whatever you want.
For a day, and then you'll
See
come
what
back
happened
and kill
yesterday?
me.
Didn't you say something about how he can do whatever he wants, and now he's going to take your job?
That's fine.
That's what you just set up.
Well, you know what? Let him
Nick,
do
you're
what he
fired.
wants.
Oh, all right. I'll see you guys later.
That's true. You didn't suck up to Zach on yesterday's show, so he's going to fire you.
Yeah, he's like, you're just going to let him do whatever he wants? Yeah, he is.
Yeah, and you're fired.
You got something to say about it?
Oh, wow.
All right, Nick, before you're fired, we're actually going to have you break down your lineup on
I see.
StarFantasyLeagues.com.
Now I'm worth something.
For those of you who don't listen, first off, what are you doing with your lives? Daily fantasy basketball and daily fantasy sports in general is the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Yeah, if you're even giving this show a taste, that means you're probably a sports fan, and you should be involved in daily fantasy sports because it takes everything up a level. It really does.
That is very, very true. Daily fantasy sports allows you to enjoy sports a lot more. You get to really get into it, learn all the players, learn the teams, all that good stuff. But, Nick, you've been doing pretty well. For those of you who don't know, $100,000 salary cap for NBA. 2 guards, 2 forwards, 2 centers, 2 utility. That's any player you want. You got to stay under that cap. You get the most points, you win the most money. It's a pretty easy concept, but it's not that easy.
Well, there's a lot of research involved.
That is very true. You do the most research. You don't always win, though. You got to really do the right research.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for daily fantasy, it's something where you actually have to manage your bankroll a lot, and any money that you actually have in your account, you got to make sure that you put a lower percentage into the games each night so that you don't break it in one night, because you're not always going to win. Sometimes you'll have players that get injured or something, or just have an off night throughout the course of the game. But it's about consistent longevity and winning consistency. That
is very true. That's the easiest way to continue to go up your upward climb instead of just throwing money at something and hoping you win, because that's never going to happen.
Yeah, this isn't the lottery. You want to build and you want to maintain your research, keep up on your knowledge, and continue to get better.
That is true. It's a skill game. Gotta keep up that research. All right, Nick, let's hear your lack of research. Go.
Oh, wow. Lack of research got me 3 straight against you, John.
Oh, Zach just said you don't win every night.
Yeah, Nick loves to tout this in-house rivalry.
I do.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And it's building up a little bit, given the fact that he keeps announcing it on the radio.
It was 260 to 238 yesterday. We both had monster.
We
had monster scores. Zach, what was your score yesterday?
I don't know. It was pretty bad.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
All right, I have to preface this really quickly. You know how I like to play in GPPs, right?
Yeah,
guaranteed prize pools. I got to mix it up every once in a while. Last night I was in the 260s and I still didn't top the charts. There were scores in the low 300s.
Yeah, there was a 300 last night. That was insane. I haven't seen 300 on StarFantasyLeagues.com in a while.
Yeah, so that's kind of the premise of heading into this. So,
well, you can see 302 in theaters this Friday.
Wow, they're not a sponsor, Zach.
All right, so I'm going to start off. I liked Zach's play of the day yesterday. I went with Ty Lawson. I think that that's going to be a great game to pick a lot of players from. So Ty Lawson's the guy. Yeah,
if you only listened to until yesterday's show at about 8:50, you didn't hear Zach retract Kemba Walker as his play of the day. He actually went with Ty Lawson.
Oh, that's true. He had to make an on-the-fly adjustment.
Yeah, normally he writes it down. Yesterday, apparently he didn't, and went, okay, Kemba Walker. Yeah, Kemba Walker.
I started looking at the numbers. I said, who should I go with? I thought that Kemba was going to be a lower value than he is, but he's up around $15K, which just doesn't do it for me.
It's a little bit too much, I'd say. I have Ty Lawson, and we obviously are not going to have an issue. Continue.
All right. Here's where the issue starts.
Oh, good.
You ready? I have Gary Neal in tonight.
I don't have a problem with it. It's a favorable matchup against Cleveland. He's getting 30 minutes, and he is down around, 6,400?
6,000. No, 6,000, actually.
6,000. So that's a serviceable value pick, in my opinion.
I mean, he is starting, correct?
He is starting. Gerald Henderson is out again tonight.
Yeah, he might be out for a while.
Yeah, he hasn't been producing very well, but his matchup is a lot more favorable than the last 2 games that he's had against Miami and Indy.
He's having a really low assist number since he's been there.
Is it safe to say that if he gets about 20 points that you've pretty much blown the value out of the water?
Yes. Yeah. You've well exceeded your value. You're looking at 2.5 times. So if you're looking at a salary cap of 6,000, you're probably going to want to get around 14, 15 to make value.
That sounds about right. I mean, he's been averaging around 10 to 12. So
yeah,
you're hoping for 15.
Uptick night for him. I think he can get over 15.
I don't hate it, but I also I don't know.
I'm not enamored with it.
Yeah,
but I'm okay with it.
Do you have Bazemore in your lineup?
No.
Okay, but you have Gary Neal. Come on, what are you
doing? Hang on. I'll get there. Okay, I'll get there. I have my reasons.
Apparently, you're not going to get there.
You want me to tell you? Tell you what I would have done, because I could tell you right now.
Okay.
I would have put in Bazemore.
Yeah.
For 7,000, and remove Ty Lawson and put in Kyle Lowry in his favorable matchup against.
That'll save you the extra $1,000.
That's $1,000 right there.
All right. Well, why don't I move on to my next guy then? Because I think it has a lot to do with Bazemore. No, I don't think I did. I put in Xavier Henry. Xavier, whatever. How was his night last night?
Is it really Xavier?
Yeah, Xavier Henry.
Okay. Yeah, his night last night was pretty good.
Isn't his first game back or second game back?
Third.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Well, I haven't been paying attention to Xavier.
All right, so
actually, I think this is his 4th. I think he got 5 minutes, 14 minutes. Then he had his game last night, and then he plays again tonight.
Wow, you are exactly on the. No, this is his 4th game. 5, 14, and 19.
I actually know the guy's minutes.
You probably researched it earlier.
That's a little weird.
I prefer Bazemore 100 times over against Xavier Henry.
Fair enough.
I don't see it.
Fair enough. All right, whatever.
That was a blowout game last night. They were clearly getting him a few minutes, even in that crazy blowout.
And what's the over-under tonight?
Large.
Okay.
Large.
Over under. What
Quite
about
a
the
large.
spread? I think the spread is all we care about.
No, spread's 8.5. It's not crazy.
It could be a blowout.
Yeah, it's got. This is
Could
one of the.
be.
We're going to talk about Giles Mail. This is one of the worst teams I've ever seen.
Keep in
They're
mind,
pretty bad.
I'm rolling on GPPs.
All right, come on, roll through.
All right,
lineup.
next
We don't like Zadia.
I'm waiting for the smackdown on this one. Jeff Adrian from Milwaukee.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Why
Let's
would you
hear it.
even
I'm
touch
waiting.
Jeff
'Cause
Adrian?
I have my ways.
I would love to hear your ways and your reasoning behind this.
Wait, what team did you just say he plays for? Since when has he been in Milwaukee? This is awful.
I think it has something
He's
to do with
terrifying.
Ilyasova, maybe. I don't know what you're doing. Can you?
All right,
can
so
you
he's
check
58.
what he's been doing.
He's 5,800. He's probably going to get, I believe, somewhere between 20 and 25 minutes at a minimum.
He's gotten no
So-
more than 22 minutes in the past
All
couple
right,
weeks.
fine. That's fine. Larry Drew is the devil, though, okay, and we all know that. But,
Wow, look at those fantasy points.
Yeah, he's putting up okay numbers.
okay, all right, thank you. Now we've gotten a little bit
I
of...
still wouldn't touch
That's
him
fine.
with 50
All right,
full.
that's
That
fine.
would be one of the ones
So-
that we would.
okay,
If he
so-
actually did well, we'd be like, "Wow, Nick, you really pulled that out because
Yeah.
we weren't even looking at it."
We'll give you accountability, but we'll also slam you when he gets
All right,
four
fine.
points.
Okay.
4 fouls in 4 minutes.
Now I'll get to the guys that obviously I think you're going to.
Yeah, you saved a lot of money. I understand you built from the bottom up today.
Absolutely. Next, I have David Lee. I love David Lee tonight. I think he's going to go off.
No brainer. Although you know who's starting tonight?
David Lee.
No, Paul Millsap. Just
Cares.
announced. But it's better than what they've been trotting out there.
It
at power
is, but
forward.
actually, I don't know. Mike Scott has been pretty decent defensively.
That's true.
And I think he might be a little bit taller than Paul Millsap.
Paul Millsap's
who's
very undersized,
short
but he
and
does.
stocky.
He's a good rebounder, though. He's one of the best rebounders.
He's a good
for his
rebounder,
size,
but
yeah.
that doesn't make you a good defender.
No, I'm
and
saying, but that takes away from the numbers for David Lee. He likes to rebound.
I don't know, man. I think David Lee's going to be money tonight.
So do I. I agree.
And it could actually benefit David Lee because Atlanta might be able to stay in this game.
Yeah, hopefully.
All right, so I hope David Lee blows him out. Next, I'm going back with Al Jefferson. I love Al Jefferson. I have for a
That's
while.
my personal play of the night, especially with Varasho out. You're going against Spencer Hawes. Ugh.
Jefferson's been dominant. He's been
love
on
him.
fire.
He's
It's
expensive,
great.
but he's on fire.
Absolutely. Okay, so no-brainer there. I have Tyreek Evans because you guys ripped me apart for not having him in the past couple of
Yeah,
nights.
that's another one. He's starting, especially against Milwaukee. They're really atrocious against the position, 25th against small forward. I can't hate on you for that at all.
Yeah, the fact that he's still at 12,000, it's just unbelievable value for him right now. He's a guy in a favorable matchup that could get 40 fantasy points.
Correct.
You know he could.
Love it. And last, I want to hear what you have to say about this, though. Tyson Chandler.
I have Chandler written down tonight. I believe I do not have him in my lineup, but I have no problem with him, to be honest.
I don't care for it.
No? Against
I'm
Utah?
not interested.
Against Derek Favors?
Could be
Derek
all
Favors
right.
is bad.
It could be all right.
All right, Nick, I didn't hate your lineup today. I hated a couple of them, but overall, you kind of
We're
turned
going
it
to
around.
wait and see on
for
Adrian,
studs.
right?
I think
Wait
he's
and see on
getting
Adrian.
better.
All right, he is getting better, and coming back from the break, it's John's mailbag time, guys. Come on, it's time. And you're listening to the Star Fantasy League show on the Sports Byline USA Network.
Mailbag.
Play fantasy sports for cash prizes. Join the top daily and weekly fantasy leagues in the country at starfantasyleagues.com. Now, back to the Star Fantasy League show with Jonathan, Zach, and Seth. Okay, fantasy sports fans.
There's a letter in your mailbox.
Time to dig into Donald's mailbag for your questions and comments.
Read the mail, read the mail, read the mail.
Jump in the game. Send your questions and comments to the Star Fantasy Leagues team by tweeting at SFL Show.
Yes, that is right. You should probably send us tweets and emails and vines and touts and whatever the heck you want to John's
Don't send us
mailbag.
any of that.
Oh my
John.
God!
Oh, no.
Oh my God!
Oh, no. Someone's back.
He's here.
Seth Young is back in studio. Seth, what time is it?
It's not mailbag time.
I believe it actually is mailbag time.
Oh.
Are you going to stick around for mailbag, or are you going to go back in your office?
It's mailbag time.
Okay, see you later,
just
Seth.
pronounced you DOA. We pronounced you
Yeah, I
DOA
pronounced you
early
down
in the
here.
show.
I apologize.
I've been around.
All right, I believe Nick is doing such a good job, he's going to get back on the microphone. Seth, it was very nice
Yeah,
seeing
we
you.
appreciate you coming back on the show.
Monday, you going to be back on Monday?
You guys should all go jump off a bridge.
Wow, Seth is such a cranky puss today.
Cranky
And,
McCrankston.
This is true, but that's what happens when you have Seth Young in studio. It kind of happens. All right, let's get right to it. We're starting off with Zach's favorite thing ever in John's mailbag. Judge Judy wrote in. Of course
Oh
she
my
do.
God!
Anytime there's something legal, she writes in. Every time.
If I get really wealthy, which
gonna marry her?
I really hope I do, I'm going to get a big mural of Judith.
Wow, that's not where I thought that was going. All right.
Then I will tweet her the mural picture, and she may either get freaked out or come see it.
She'll be freaked
Then
out.
I'll
All
get
right.
to meet her.
All right, her question is, there was yet another fan interjecting in a college basketball game last night when UC Santa Barbara played Hawaii. I think that young man might need to speak to me after he gets out of jail. Did you guys see this?
It's ridiculous. I can't believe back to back. This is just piling one on top of the other.
This fan just bolted out of his seat, ran down, just ran on the floor, and got right in the head coach's face for Hawaii.
They need to make an example of him. They really do.
Okay, the best part was he got pushed around by the players, and then somehow the security still didn't get him. He went back to his seat and sat down. Are you kidding me?
One of the main drivers for audience attention of college basketball is that they're so close to the game, but it's really starting to become a problem.
It is. I think we're going to see fans running on the court being outlawed very, very soon if this continues. It's dangerous.
I mean, yeah, that's probably going to happen. I don't think that it's that out of control, though. I just think that the guy needs to be made an example of. If you set the tone, say, you know what, we're going to prosecute you to the fullest extent of the law. We're going to take you down. And then everybody else is going to fall in line. It's really not that big of a deal.
You
have
drunks.
a couple of bad people that are just screwing it all up. That's just not.
It's just the college atmosphere
Exactly.
that lends itself to these types of actions. I mean, you're not going to see something like this occur in an NBA game, despite the fact that they're just as close to the game. You got people sitting on the sidelines, but they're pretty much all millionaires.
It's a lot like drinking in college. Seriously, there's a couple of stupid idiots
there's people
ruin it
that
for everybody.
there's people that aren't ready to take on the responsibility of partying.
Maturity. Let's
okay,
go.
moving on from needing maturity to also needing maturity. Wow, great segue.
Did you hear Nick just root on maturity?
No.
Let's go.
Nice. All right, Father Mohagan writes, it appears that Shaq is putting together a fundraising effort to make Shaq Fu 2. What would be the perfect name for this sequel? Anybody got a name for Shaq Fu 2?
I don't know. Anything with Shaq's name in it's going to work.
Okay, I got Shaq Fu 2, Shaq'd in a Fool.
Shaq'd in a sequel.
No, that's bad.
Why not?
That's Shaq'd in a sequel? That's like Teddy Bear 2, the sequel.
Lessons in Shaqting.
That's not bad.
Huh?
All right, how about this one? Shaq 2, even Shaqier. No?
Shaqtitiousness.
That's terrible as well.
Shaqtiplicity?
That's something I could tolerate, I think.
Double Dragon Shaq style?
Shaqula? Count Shaqula?
Count Shaqula. Why would you? Where's the association there?
That it kind of like rhymes.
This might be the worst.
How about
question.
Shacky Chan?
Shacky
Chan.
I'm disappointed in Father Mohagan for rating.
Yeah, this is a weird
messed
question.
up question.
You can blame Nick for this. This is Nick's fault for even bringing this.
Oh, come on.
He
Sorry
brought
for
this-
letting
Come
our
on,
listeners
that's
down.
hilarious. It's hilarious that he's actually coming out with Shaq Fu 2. Come on.
But it's a fundraiser. Why can't he he's got hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. Do it yourself, dude. Like, what's your
Well,
problem?
wouldn't you want to know how much
Shaq-arena?
people love you?
The Shaq Arena. That's another thing that's outdated by about 15 years. Good job.
I'm
Well
bringing
done.
it back.
All right, moving on, because that was a terrible question. We're just going to expunge that from the recording. It's never going to happen again. Oh, wait, we're on live radio. Oops, sorry.
I don't have a problem with it.
Sure, why not? All right, LeBron
Father
James.
Mohagan, write like that again, and then we'll take you out.
All right, well, we're going to read his questions anyways. LeBron James writes, did you hear me whining about how the new sleeve jerseys caused my off-shooting night? Can I be any more of a crybaby?
So he wants to know if he's a crybaby because I think
It's LeBron James. He wants more media attention. He just wants. That's why he tweeted at us at SFL Show. Guys, seriously, tweet us at SFL Show. Seth said at the top of the show, or sorry, the top of the segment, not to tweet us. He's an idiot.
He's not here anymore.
That's true. He's back to being DOA.
I hate to say this. Actually, I really don't hate to say this, but King James is the queen of excuses.
King James is the queen.
Despite
I love
the
it.
fact that, he is the best player in the league, he's going to go down as one of the best players ever. He already is one of the best players ever. He's an unstoppable force. But whenever he does something wrong or messes up or doesn't play well, he said, my off night against Houston after my 61-point performance, I don't want to make excuses. It wasn't because of I was tired, but, I just didn't have as much hop in my legs. It's like, what are you really saying? You're saying you're not going to make excuses. You're saying that it's not because you're tired. but then you're giving an excuse that means that you're tired.
It's really the worst part of it all is that he's in his own world. Obviously, yeah, you're an icon. You are great, but he's in his own world. You very rarely hear him just with a simple response. You know what? We didn't play our best effort tonight. We got to come back out and do it. Try again tomorrow night. You know, it's always. My shirt sleeves got in the way. My legs were tired. Why don't you just tell us, you know what? It wasn't your night. Move on. Have some class.
You got an issue with
move
this.
On.
I could see myself as a guy. I mean, I go to the gym. I take a lot of threes. I could see myself not liking those sleeves if I'm accustomed to wearing a jersey. But talk about it at Christmas when they first come out with those things.
Yeah, you don't blame
after
it
the
on
game.
some BS. Just
not after the game.
On,
after you've experienced these uniforms multiple times, start saying that it's the reason and they should get rid of it.
Well, I mean, he has shot pretty poorly. 6 of 18 the other night. 0 of 11 combined from 3 with the sleeves in 2 other games. One of them was the All-Star game.
No offense to LeBron, but he's never been the best jump shooter.
That is actually very true. I think it's typical Bron whining.
I think the funniest thing was what Dwayne Wade said. He basically called him out, said that it wasn't even close to the sleeves. He said it was just, they're not their game. They got beat. That's all there is to it. He said it right across the locker room. It was great. I don't understand. I don't understand why he always has to keep. It's so minor.
You know what?
Move on. Get over it.
Thank you. You know what? We are moving on because LeBron is a whiny baby, and he's a whiny baby. Let's go on to another team full of whiners, most likely. It's Zach's favorite team in the world. Jerry West writes, on Thursday night, the Lakers were handed the most lopsided loss in franchise history at the hands of the Clippers, 142-94.
That's insane.
Has the dominance in L.A. finally shifted to the Clippers for the long term?
Ooh, absolutely.
You think so?
I don't think it's even a question. I don't think there's a chance. For one, Kobe has a couple years left, a couple years of pretty low minutes, and not anywhere close to the Kobe of 5 or 6 years ago, even though he's still very good. But to put players around him when he has maxed out his salary, to expect that they can get somebody like Carmelo Anthony, and expect that Carmelo Anthony and Kobe Bryant, both shooters that need the ball in their hands, would somehow operate well in sync. I think this is probably a 6, 7, 8 year era of Clippers dominance coming up.
I don't know. I'm going to disagree with you just a little bit. And,
wow,
and the reason is because the Lakers are one of those few teams in professional sports. They always find a way to bounce back and get back on top. You make a great point. I mean, there's no doubt. I don't think that Kobe is going to fit in with any shooter or any, personality like that. But at the same time, I could see within the next 3 or 4 years where they start putting some pieces back together and all of a sudden they're right back in.
I still think that the Clippers will be above them at that point. I'm not saying the Lakers can't be good, but I think the Clippers will still be above them. And I would also like to say that one of the main reasons that the Lakers are where they are right now, one of the reasons that they are so bad is because of David Stern. Is because David Stern rescinded the Chris Paul trade. And if Chris Paul had been a Laker, he would have worked perfectly alongside Kobe Bryant and Pau Gasol, and this team would be one of the best teams in the West.
Well, I mean, do you think that worked to the benefit of the league then? I mean, obviously David Stern always he was always looking out for the NBA.
I think the trade that New Orleans got back, the one that wasn't vetoed, is actually worse. They have nobody left.
Yeah,
New Orleans got a worse deal out of it.
They got hurt the worst.
Which was not Stern's intention. And on top of that, it's not the commissioner's job to interfere with trades that are under the rules and regulations of the association.
Well, the problem was they owned the New Orleans Hornets at the time. Yeah. That's what the issue was.
I agree with him, though. The commissioner needs to pass that off to somebody else.
General managers are still making the moves. That's why you have general managers.
Yeah, but he was basically, the whole thing is he was like a puppet, basically. That was David Stern's team to run.
The commissioner's job is to run the NBA, not run a specific team.
I know. That's why I think the whole idea of if there's a team like in default like New Orleans was, you can't sell it back to the league, basically. Say, you can control it.
And if the NBA wanted, the NBA owned the team, right? But the trade was still going through. It wasn't like David Stern was like, well, I'm going to be general manager and I'm going to decide what trades we make. The trade was ready to be executed.
Yeah, it was agreed upon.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a little weird. I was out when that happened and I heard it. I was like, that's a good trade. I was like, ooh,
I'm glad
it's gone.
I'm glad that we weren't on the air at that time because I would have just gone, look at me, I'm sweating.
And you know what, you're all flustered, but you haven't mentioned the man of the hour. Go ahead, mention him.
Who?
Your favorite human being in the world from the Los Angeles
Mike
Lakers?
D'Antoni?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Every show. We have to mention him every single Star
I mean, I
Fantasy
know why
show.
you're saying that, though. He's part of the reason that they're not getting anywhere right now.
They didn't even break 100 last night in a game that they had 236 points.
Yeah, and the Lakers had an opportunity to give a bunch of money to Phil Jackson to have him there again, have another stint with the Lakers, and they didn't do it. It was a big fallout for whatever reason, and it was ridiculous. And they let a massive opportunity go by, and here they are stuck with D'Antoni, who hasn't done anything.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with the fact that the Clippers are going to be dominant for the next 7-8 years. I think the Lakers are always going to be the Lakers. They can get those marquee guys like Nick said. Who knows? We're going to find out. But after the break, we are breaking down NBA Saturday on StarFantasyLeagues.com, and you're listening to the Star Fantasy League show on the Sports Byline USA Network.
The Star Fantasy League show is now part of the Nick Monsanto show. Information is key to being a successful fantasy team owner, and the guys have all the updated info you need right now.
Right now, we have all of your updated standings and schedules and bracketology. And actually, that's not this show. We don't do that here.
Welcome back to the SFL show.
I am so glad that Zach is just taking this so seriously when he's going to be hosting. He's trying to mirror exactly what I said.
I got to get in a little excerpt to,
You know what?
lay claim to what I'm about to do.
I'm going to take my voice recording all the intros just so you have it. And they're like, today on the show, not Jonold. We'll see how
your
that works.
host, me.
Yeah, really. I am your host and also your co-host. That's a little awkward.
It's going to be a big day in my radio career.
What, hosting a radio
Take
show?
over as permanent primary host.
Oh, that's fine. You can do that.
Told you.
On our old incarnation.
Give him an inch.
On the old incarnation of our podcast, Zach tried to be the named co-host the entire time we were just like, call me the co-host. I just wouldn't do it.
He did it the first time I asked him to.
That's not true at all.
And that's, he does what I ask of him.
That's not true. I wasn't working here at the time. I was just some guy on the side of the road.
Apparently, if you give a mouse a cookie, he's going to build an entire factory and take over your radio show, John.
That's kind of what
I'm
happens.
not a mouse, but I do enjoy a cookie.
All right, guys. Enough of our riff-raffery or whatever we're shenanigans. Let's get on to NBA Saturday. There is only a 6-game slate. It's quite different than the 11-game slate we're dealing with on Friday. So, Zach, what are the differences when you only have 6 games to look at? I know it's not as bad as 3, obviously, so we're not as much overlap as normal. But what's the difference in similarities maybe between 6 and 11?
Well, when I'm doing research, what I like to do is not only look at how opposing players do against certain positions, but I also like to look at any previous games that they've played against each other and how the players have performed. Sometimes this gets a little difficult on shorter slates because you can't find as many of those games. One, and maybe somebody that does have a favorable matchup didn't perform as well earlier in the year, but you still have to take a chance on that player because there's only so many players that you can look at, only so many good values out there. So you have to be very selective, and I don't think you can be as speculative as you can be with a larger slate.
Yeah, how much do you dive in on looking at old box scores? Like, do you have to pay attention to, who was playing for that team? Was there a defensive stopper that wasn't there? Is that why he had a good game? Is that why he had a bad game? All that good stuff.
Absolutely. And one of the patterns that you like to see is how somebody has done historically against a mainstay team like the Spurs. If somebody's done well against the Spurs, always does well against them.
You mean Chris Bosh the other day?
Right, like Chris Bosh. That's somebody that you want to look at. But usually when you go back in time, a year, 2 years, you're not getting as much information out of it because the players switch in and out so much. Defenses change, and even when you have a center or a power forward or some position that is defensively capable, they might not do as well when the rest of their team around them just isn't good defensively. So it's by far the most relevant when you're looking at the same year, and you have to keep an eye on whether, like, say, Paul Millsap was out for a big stretch, and they played, say team played Atlanta when Paul Millsap was out. Those are things that you'll have to look at, and when you compare the games together, you have to make sure that the players are matching up like they are on that given night.
That makes complete sense. It's almost the same way I look at it when I'm researching. I don't delve in as deep as you do sometimes.
I get a little crazy.
Yeah, I like to go based off feel a little bit. I feel like that might be crazy to say, but
there is such a thing as intuition in fantasy sports where you say, I just really think that this guy is going to have a big night, and sometimes you look at it and see, maybe it's a rivalry game where the player previously hadn't done as well, and they're going to want to really get up for this game. Maybe
Rondo today.
Maybe it's on prime time, and it's tough to look at research on when players played in primetime games and how they did. But if you're somebody that has tracked the game for a long time, watched the game for a long time, you usually know how those players do when it's on a big game.
That is true. Yeah, I love to look at those kind of matchups. It's definitely the intangibles of playing daily fantasy sports that are very, very important, especially if you're a beginner. You want to kind of slowly work up to this stuff, but you got to keep it in the back of your mind at all times. All right, let's get into the 6-game slate on Saturday on StarFantasyLeagues.com. Let's start off with Utah at Philadelphia. Utah's on a back-to-back. Philadelphia, as we know, is the worst defensive team in the league. I actually think they should have to face off against those Los Angeles Lakers we just mentioned for the number 1 seed. They're that bad. These two teams are not NBA teams. They're D-League teams.
It's pretty unbelievable how bad they are, how disappointing their seasons are, and the decline that Utah has suffered since Jerry Sloan left is.
You mean got kicked out? He didn't leave. Darren Williams forced him out of that team.
And then Darren Williams left.
Correct. So it should never have happened. He should still be coaching there. It should be a different culture. I feel so bad for Jerry Sloan. He's back on the team for some kind of front office thing. But
yeah, it kind of reminds me of Schottenheimer, to be honest. When the Chargers fired Schottenheimer and they basically became a bottom of the heap playoff team and then non-playoff team.
They were 14-2 there.
Yeah, 14-2, and they caused a fumble against the Patriots on an interception that would have ended the game and moved them on to the championship. I digress. But yeah, this game is one of those games that you're going to want to look at. I don't think we have an over/under yet.
No, not out.
I'm guessing it's going to be reasonably high.
Yeah, it should be.
My favorite player to target in this game is probably the most reliable player, I would say, on both teams, and that's Gordon Hayward.
Yep.
Who had 17 points, 7 assists, and 7 boards, 2 steals, and 3 blocks the last time that they played earlier this year. And he went 3 for 17 shooting and still got all those stats.
Wow.
So I think he's going to have a better game this time, shooting at least. And he's very reasonably priced at $14,900. And against Philadelphia, I mean, I don't think it gets much better than that.
The over/under is out. It's 208.5. That's good enough. I actually like Hayward in this game. I would consider Enes Kanter in this game at 10,614. There's basically nobody in the front court for this team.
I would also consider Michael Carter-Williams, who, well, his minutes have gone down a little bit. He is much taller, quicker, just an all-around better player than Trey Burke, in my opinion.
How many minutes has Kanter been getting since he got back?
Relatively decent, probably like 29 to 30.
Since Favors got back.
Probably the same.
All right.
I assume. Yeah,
Kanter drives me nuts.
Yeah, this is true.
You don't know when he's going to come off the bench and suddenly dominate. You don't know when he's going to start. I mean, obviously, it's just ridiculous.
Here's a guy I wanted to bring up, Henry Sims. Guys might not be familiar with the name. He's been starting at center for the Philadelphia 76ers, playing about 25 to 30 minutes a night. He's listed at 51.94 on StarFantasyLeagues.com. He's been getting 15 to 25 points.
I know you started him the other night. It didn't seem to go that well.
No, I had one of his not so well. Did I start him? Yeah, I think I started him like 3 nights ago.
Yeah. And he did terrible.
But the other night he played, he had 24 or something like that. So, I mean, he is capable. As long as he gets his 25 to 30 minutes, he's going to be fine.
Yeah, it's nights like these that you have to look for that type of value. 6-game slate, you're going to want to find 2 or 3 people that are in that 4,000 to 6,000 range.
Are we done with Thad Young, or are we? He's getting up there. He's at 15,229.
I think he's worth a look.
Yeah,
I think he's worth a look. I mean, they need him so bad. If they can stay in a game, he's probably going to get some decent stats, but his inconsistencies are back, it seems like.
Yeah,
and that's kind of bothersome. If you can find somebody better, like, I don't know. There are other people in that range that you can definitely look at, I think, for tomorrow.
Alrighty, let's move on to another game with a large over/under. Atlanta at the Clippers, 217 over/under, and the Clippers are favored by 13, despite the fact that Paul Millsap's going to be probable for this game, because I assume he's going to play on Friday, and that would mean he's probably going to play on Saturday as well. So,
I mean, this Atlanta team was never really that good to begin with. They've suffered so many injuries that have put them down the pole even further, but they're not that all-around talented anyways, and they don't have a good bench. So, I don't know. I'm not surprised that if this spread stays the same, but I still think you have to look at the players that you need to look at. As we've seen in previous games with powerhouse teams like the Clippers right now, they can put up so many fantasy numbers.
In three quarters.
In 3 quarters.
Blake Griffin's done it twice this season where he puts
Yeah.
up 40 fantasy points through 3 quarters.
And that's going to happen anyways. They're going to get those 3 quarters, and there's always the chance that it ends up being close and they get more points.
So who do you like from this game?
Everyone.
Yeah, Matt Barnes has been on such a tear. His salary is still under 10. He's at $91.33 on StarFantasyLeagues.com. I feel like he's the best value of the night, right?
He is. He's really good value. But I honestly think everyone's in play. I think Darren Collison's in play. He had a great game last night. Who, by the way, beat your boy Boris Dihow in overall fantasy points last night.
We were going matchup, like we were going against each other. It was Dihow against Collison.
Yes.
They both had pretty good numbers.
I know,
though.
they both did.
Yeah.
They were both serviceable.
This
for
is
sure.
true.
But yeah, I mean, Blake Griffin could have a huge game. DeAndre Jordan, and you got to remember, DeAndre Jordan didn't have a great game against them the first time they played. That was with Al Horford.
Little bit different.
That's a completely different story.
Yeah, Pero's back, by the way. Pero Antic, 58-33. What do you think of him now that he's back? I don't know if he's going to get the minutes right away. I think he played 19 minutes the other night. Was fairly serviceable when he was playing back. What, a month? I think he's been out for almost 3 weeks, 3-4 weeks.
I think
now.
they'll give him a good hard look.
Because the Clippers are terrible inside. Blake and DeAndre decide not to play good team defense.
Yeah, and the way that Brand performed last game, I think you're seeing the wear and tear on somebody that's been in the league a long time. He can't keep up those kind of minutes. Those minutes have to go somewhere, and I think at 58-33, that's another guy you can look at in that range.
Getting some value in there. Yeah, he's pretty much the only guy I would touch. Scott is going to lose some minutes now that Antic is
Paul
back.
Millsap, watch his numbers tonight.
Watch how much he plays,
Yeah,
you mean?
because if he seems like he hits his stride right away tonight, he'll be a great play tomorrow. He had 25 points, 9 boards, 6 assists, a steal, and 3 blocks with Al Horford last time that they played the Clippers. And he'll be even more relied upon in this game. And I think for that reason, that he's going to be so relied upon, he'll jump right back into his minutes.
Yeah, you would assume he would.
He hasn't been out that long.
All right, let's move on to another game that's got some interesting matchups. Washington at Milwaukee. Milwaukee's just been bad. Their defense inside, they've been banged up. Ilyasova might be suspended for this game. Apparently he threw a punch in the last game. They're reviewing it in the league offices. So if he's out, Henson's going to start, Pachulia's going to start. I mean, do any of those guys any interest to you?
No.
Okay, that's what I thought. What about for Washington, though? Because all that turmoil is going down low, are you looking at somebody like Gortat or Booker?
Yeah, I'm definitely looking at Gortat. He had a pretty low-level performance earlier, 14-8-2 when he played them earlier in the year, but they're ranked 28th against centers. That was with Nene. Nene is not there. They're so reliant upon Gortat.
Gortat's been incredible the past couple of games.
Yeah,
he's over 40
good.
almost every game.
He's basically a guarantee to get over 28.
Way over 28. He's only listed at 14,769 on StarFantasyLeagues.com. I would definitely. He's an easy lock for 30, 35.
I think he's a must start on this night just because there's only so many quality centers available.
Yeah,
I think you've got to play him
anybody
on
else
Saturday.
How about somebody like Trevor Ariza? He's been on fire. He has a decently favorable matchup. He's a guy that's putting up 40 the past couple games as well.
Trevor Ariza is actually the other guy I've got written down. He had 22 points. 12 boards, 4 assists, 4 steals, and 2 blocks when they played, which is one of his best lines of the year. And, yeah, I mean, I think he can absolutely take over for them. That was without Bradley Beal in that game. But Ariza still, despite that, only took 12 shots anyways in that game. And you know he's going to get that many shots no matter whether Beal is playing or not.
True.
So, yeah, I think Ariza is definitely worth a look. His price,
$14,800,
is a little bit high, especially when you're definitely going to want to get in a few big guys tomorrow night with such a small slate.
Sure. All right. We mentioned Griffin as a guy we'd like to get in for big money. Who else are you looking at?
I kind of like Kyrie Irving tomorrow night. I think he's a definite option. He had 37 points and 11 assists, 24 points, 6 assists the last 2 times they played the Knicks. Obviously, the matchup doesn't look that good
but it's
on paper
Felton.
against the Knicks,
slow.
but he should run circles around Raymond Felton. And, I really like his chances in that game. I also think you should look at Dion Waiters. If C.J. Miles is still out, which he probably will be, New York is ranked 27th against shooting guards.
Yeah, J.R. Smith is starting, so it's even worse than that.
Yeah, Dion Waiters coming off the bench. He has had the ability to go off in a lot of games. I'm guessing that he's around 8,000, somewhere in that range.
Probably the 8 to 9, right?
Yeah, and on a short slate, like I said, you need somebody with upside, and he's got it.
All right, speaking of upside, who is your value play of the day, Zach?
My play of the day for tomorrow night is Blake Griffin.
Blake Griffin is your play of the day for Zach on StarFantasyLeagues.com. Coming up, we are wrapping this baby up, and you're listening to the Star Fantasy League show on the Sports Byline USA Network.
listening to the Star Fantasy League Show on the Nick Monsanto Show here on the Sports Byline USA Network. Contact the StarFantasyLeagues.com guys via Twitter at SFL Show.
We are wrapped up on yet another edition of the Star Fantasy League Show. Join us Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We're on every day now, guys. What's up with that?
It was exciting to have Seth or whoever that was come on the show briefly, but Nick's been doing great.
Wait, hold on, Zach. Do you hear that from next door? I believe I hear a faint echo of turn off your radio.
I think that's just whimpering.
That may be true. The ghost of Seth there's a seance going on, and Seth's ghost says, "Turn off your radio. Please don't do it. Don't put your laptops in the bathtub with you.
Tweet us.
Tweet us about your bathtub.
Tweet us at SFL Show, and if you tweet us who the player that gets the most points on Friday night in fantasy on StarFantasyLeagues.com is, we'll put $20 in your account."
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
I have the power.
You're just generous.
Yeah,
That's what it
just
is.
go on to StarFantasyLeagues.com, take a look at the scoreboards, see who did it. If you tweet us who it was, $20.
No, they don't get to see who it was. They have to tweet us who it's going to be.
Oh, who you think it's going to
Yes.
be. Oh, okay. Oh, that's fine. Yeah, just tweet us.
Yeah, which means given the timeline, we're at 8 p.m. right here, so the games aren't over.
That's very true. Just tweet us who you think is going to have the most points. That's a pretty good value. But also, if you don't want to go through all that trouble, if you're lazy like we are, just tweet us at SFL Show with your username on StarFantasyLeagues.com. We'll put $5 in bonus credit in your account. No strings attached. You can use that money immediately to play games.
But if you've already done it, don't try to pull it on us again.
Yeah, we write down. We have notes.
Yeah, we track this stuff.
We actually have a wall full of notes that say, ooh, this guy did that. Oh, don't do that. But what else do we got going on? Friday is the $2,000 guarantee.
$2,000 guaranteed tonight. Free rolls every day. We've got these new turbo games, which are so cool. You only have to select 5 players. It's something that you can pair up great with your regular selections that you play every night.
It's a new beast, yeah.
Yeah, play all different sorts of games. Try things out. We've got more coming up. And we're building season-long contests.
That is true. Not only turbo games, not only daily, but we are going to have season-long starting for NFL next season. It's big time at StarFantasyLeagues.com.
It's a great time, and come onto the site because you're going to have just as much fun.
That's true. It's a good time to get involved with daily fantasy sports, especially with StarFantasyLeagues.com. And if you guys don't think LeBron James is a crybaby, we'll help you make a better team next time. Take it easy, guys.